All right, what's up? I got another top 8 here. We got Nazeer here. Nazeer, what happened today? How'd you place and what happened today?
So I placed 8th in Swiss today. Good turnout. My only 2 losses were actually 2 who are actually playing right now. The Sword Soul in the virtual world, and I lost the game 3 to IO and traps that forbid me from playing spell cards. But besides that, this deck did extremely good today.
All right, and what's the deck you're playing?
Invoked Shaddoll, Dogmatika.
Okay.
This deck is my month deck because me and my buddy Dami made a deal that I'd only play 1 deck for this month, so it worked out. He actually helped me build this, so shout out to Dami.
All right.
Here's my list. I'm gonna start by just doing it by engine. So I do Invoked first, so 3 Meltdown.
Try to flip it around for me.
Oh yeah, sure.
There we go.
3 Meltdown, Terraforming, 2 Invocation, and 3 Alistair.
Pretty standard.
Standard, self-explanatory, unless I'm playing like Desires, and I get an extra invocation at that point. The 3 Shaddolls I'm playing are the Aerial, the Dragon, and the Beast. I was playing 2 for a while, but I think the 3rd one actually helps fix consistencies, and the 2 that it was the Dragon and the Aerial, which was very important, but the draw does come up.
No Windy?
No, because Windy, I feel like, is pretty much a crit.
Right.
If you really think about it, because I'd rather see these when I'm fishing instead of having special. So I don't want the card immediately.
Gotcha.
And then 3 okay fusion spells with Shaddoll Fusion, which is only good going second, unfortunately. But when I saw it and I was second, I won that duel most likely. And then the God card.
This game was pretty strong. Outs almost everything.
Literally. Top 8 was scary when it got cosmic, but besides that, it was amazing.
Right.
For the doggies, I play the Ecclesia. That's one of them all, besides the Maximus, which you play 3 at instead of 2 or 1, which is I still kind of think I understand, but I think that's not right. 2, you want to see it. You want to see it as much as possible. Because if you don't see it, then it's not likely you'll be able to play against your opponent's board, and that's really important.
Right. It's a good engine starter.
Very good engine starter. And I play the 1 Flirt, which breaks boards every time I see it, especially against Sword Soul. When I saw this card, I broke it. And then the last 4 is the best search from the deck, is the Nazeer Servants. Crazy to pop a card and still get a card. And then the Punishment, which you play 1 at instead of 2. Come on, when you see this card, you're doing well normally, even though activating kind of locks you out of the extra deck, but that doesn't matter. It's an entire plan, you can summon it.
Right.
Tech cards, the one really good card is Called By. I saw it good every time. The pots were decent, never were bad. It's an upstart in my opinion, because you do get to look at the top 6 cards and just switch it out. So really I'm playing 37 cards still.
Did you struggle for any of your extra deck banishing them? Like having trouble deciding which ones to banish?
When I show my extra deck, I'll talk about that. It's not hard to banish in this deck because you go based off of who you're playing and what you're playing. Even if you're going first, because you know what you need. You don't want to be greedy with this card.
Right.
And then this came in clutch every time.
One of my favorite cards.
Oh my god, this card was good today. I did mostly taking. I only drew once. The only time I needed to draw was when I really needed to hit a card, and it was against Sword Soul. It's unfortunate that I lost that game when I drew because I did not have another card in hand to play around anymore. But besides that, this card really did do. And then I played the only hand trap is Impermanent in my deck. The Flame Monster hand traps is back as Tactics. And then the best spell, wow, the Chalice.
Yeah, it seems everyone's playing it right now. Why do you like it?
It's a way to get around sight, because that card sucks.
That card says you can't play.
Right, and then 2, when you have not just this and this, you don't need to wait until their turn to negate their card, especially against Sword Soul. Sword Soul plays just too many cards.
Right.
Yeah, against my buddy Dom, I did open up 2, so my bad, bro. All love.
All right, how many in the main? How many cards?
40 exactly.
40 exactly. Anything you want to change at this point, you think?
No, this deck's fun.
You like it exactly as is, okay.
Like in the future, if I decide to go second, I just made that Dark Ruler. But that's an option that I might explore on another time. When I first made it, I was making that Dark Ruler. And it wasn't bad, but I still think this is a better choice than Dark Ruler.
Okay.
Also the time you went first.
Gotcha. What about your extra deck?
Okay, we do extra deck. So, I'll start with the links, and this is what I was talking about earlier. The choices that I made for banishing a lot of times was the Verte. This card never came up. I hate this card. Yeah, I hate this card so much.
You hate it?
Yeah, so when I did play it, which was one time, I did win that game, but it almost lost that game. Because it was getting close to time, and I needed to get rid of their card that I tacked next. And that was literally the only reason. Even though I can gravity control or synchro, it's just not good.
Right.
You know, the most important two, which gets rid of the Alistair, gives me a light. I don't play the fire one. I'll show you that later. But having the Banisher Maximus is so good. And then two, when you're in battle, taking no damage is really good, especially if they already have a light engraved for you. So, you know, that's just amazing. This is the best link I think I play right now. This is so good.
Why is it so good?
So if I Shaddoll Fusion App Colonne and I do it by negating, popping, and banishing up the graveyard, I want to get the Schism, especially if I can immediately get the Schism and break their board, something like the other invocation card that I'll show you. This card gets me straight to Schism, and I still have my other plays. And two, it can't be destroyed by battle, and it's a dark for Schism. So you can't go wrong with this card.
Right.
For my invoked targets, I play the Dogmatikas, which is a fairy, which is light, so good. Destroying a card, they can't respond with Meltdown. That's pretty nice. And then two, it does OTK when it needs to, especially if I'm doing a lot of sending from the extra.
I like the card. It's a free pop every turn.
It really is. And then sitting on it, summoning in defense mode is also really good too against decks that special summon a lot. And then you know the like Mecha. I don't need to explain this card. And then Elijah. Okay. This is against like rogue decks, especially or decks that do a lot of Exceed summoning, synchro summoning too. This shuts them down. If it gets booked, what do? Can't fusion summon with it, can't synchro with it. Ritual is iffy. So I did play one Drytron today. When I summoned it, I won. This and that could so and then there's Shaddoll.
No Purgatrio?
No, Purgatrio is unfortunately not good right now.
Okay.
This is definitely the better choice because there's more choices. No one's playing Ash too. So. The doggies, Titanklad, because pop, summon, search. Can't really go wrong here. It's a dark for Schism usually, and then you know I do this just in case I'm breaking boards going to second. I was playing Omega to recycle this, but I feel like the extra slot was better for what I'll show you next. The extra slot that I used up was actually for Construct. Instead of playing one Construct, I played two. This came up more often than not because when I was playing the 1 and 2 Shaddolls in deck, I think the light came up more for the Schism because I can now send what I needed, especially if I needed Shaddoll Fusion next turn. It just was working it too. Summoning this in defense and they're trying to kill it is really hard. It's not only does it have 2,500 defense, it gets destroyed whenever it happens.
Right.
That sounds amazing.
Hey, it's still good. So what, 6 years later?
6 years later. It's still my favorite one, too, out of all the cards. And then, you know, the Searcher. If you can't play this deck without this card, I shouldn't have to explain that one. It recycles Aerial and Dragon and Beast to draw. It adds Schism. It negates permanently and can't be destroyed by battle. That's a lot for one card.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. And then, you know, the God card, Winner.
The card that says you can't play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Yes, I made one almost every time. There was only one duel and I won against a Sword Soul, that I did make this card.
The card that says I have to play this card now because of this card.
Yep, exactly. So, you know, that's the extra deck, then I'll show you side.
Alrighty.
Side deck choices were 3 evenly, 3 dark ruler. And I didn't see it today, unfortunately, but I didn't.
The dark ruler. How'd they evenly work for you?
Evenly every time I saw it, except one time when I made a small misplay, I won that game.
You liked it? Okay.
Yeah, because especially when playing against decks that play like stuff like IO, they have to make a choice.
Right.
even if they leave the IO on the field, I can still play around it with my Shaddolls and Dogmatika combo because it takes pop and then I play my spells after.
Gotcha.
And then 2 Cosmic Red Reboot instead of playing Twin.
Why Cosmic over Twin?
Yeah, because of Sight.
Sight.
That simple. Banish, it's gone. You get rid of a lot of good cards. If I play mirror matches, I just banish there.
Okay.
See a mirror match today.
Makes sense.
Yeah, red reboot is for the IO and other cards that prevent me from playing spells. Schism 2.
Anti-spell, IO, right.
Everything. And then for the monsters, it's 3 mana and 3 draw.
How'd you like? Did you like Droll today, or?
Yeah, I liked it.
You liked it?
Won me 4 of my matches today. And Nib won me 2.
All right. Well, that's the top 8 list for Shaddoll, Dogmatika Invoked. Anything you would want to change you can think of in the main side or extra?
The only thing I would change in the future if I want to make this going second, I'd switch the chalices for Dark Rulers.
Do you think you might want to play a going second build, or?
Not right now. I think going first is smart. Most decks are going first if we can get more advantage instead of trying to break wars and not playing striker.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Nazeer. Congrats on the top 8, man.
Appreciate it. Have a good one.